Hi, I'm Jill with the West Regional Branch of the Mobile Public Library, and I am back again with another book recommendation, or really, this time it's more of an anti-rec. The book I want to talk about is Arrows of the Queen by Mercedes Lackey. This is the first book in the Valdemar series. Chronologically, it's somewhere in the middle, but it's the first one that Mercedes Lackey wrote. And I absolutely loved that series as a tween and a teenager, but I have not read it in a very long time. And I recently got back to reading it, and now some of my very favorite arcs in the series, like the Last Herald Mage arc, I still really enjoy. I read that one fairly recently, and I still really enjoyed the story. There were still some things there were some things in there that didn't age really well, but overall it was still good. Arrows of the Queen, on the other hand, is a bit of a disaster. Not only is there a lot of things that didn't age well, there's a lot of things that are just sort of ill-conceived, kind of dumb, but I'm still enjoying reading it in kind of a hate read kind of way. Just as an example of kind of the things that I'm talking about. It's actually a trilogy. The whole trilogy is called Arrows of the Queen, and then the first book is called Arrows of the Queen. But like in the second book there's something that really, the whole plot hinges on something kind of dumb in the first book too, but it's a little more complicated to explain. But the second book's plot, the whole major plot conflict hinges on the fact that the main character, Talia, was never properly trained. I mean, she's gone through years of schooling, and she gets out on her first assignment and realizes, oh no one ever taught me the very basic basis of what I'm doing. Like, everyone just thought somebody else had taught her. I'm like, who gets through 5 or 6 years of formal schooling and no one ever covered like reading, like the very basic fundamentals, and no one noticed? I'm like, that does not make the heralds look too competent. And then the plot of the first book hinges also on something that's just like, that sounds like everyone's just totally incompetent. Why does this 13-year-old need to solve this problem? But beyond that, there's also a lot of things, like I said, didn't age well. For instance, there's sort of a lukewarm defense of child marriage. I'm like, no, 13-year-olds shouldn't be married off to old men, regardless of the circumstances or your personal beliefs. That's kind of creepy. Another part is where you had a teacher sleeping with a trainee. Now, the trainee was an adult, and they were both young and good looking, and it wasn't for a grade. So in the 80s, I guess people thought that was okay, but no, it's not. So there's all this sort of stuff in there that's kind of, like I said, ill-conceived. But I keep reading it because I'm like, no, she's not going, oh yes, she did. So I am kind of enjoying it on a hate read. But like I said, this was Mercedes Lackey's first book, maybe in her first book she ever wrote, but it's definitely the first one she wrote in the Valdemar series. And she learned some things along the way. So there are later books that are much better than this one, but I have to start from the scratch when I reread a series. So I am rereading it and kind of enjoying it for reasons I'm probably not supposed to enjoy it. Okay, now let's see. For food things, recently someone gave me a bag of almond brittle, which normally wouldn't be something I'd pick up for myself because I don't particularly care for almonds or peanut brittle, so I wouldn't think to get this, but surprisingly it was really good. I think it's something about the combination of those almond flakes and all the sugar. It's like it's milder flavor than the peanuts, so I like the flavor better than the peanut brittle. And it made it more crispy and less hard because of how thin the flakes of the almonds were. Anyway, I was just pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed the bag, and I think I probably have to buy myself another bag now that I've finished off the almond brittle. So that just goes to show that unless you've tried something, you never know, because I never would have thought to pick that up myself because I'm not generally a big fan of almonds or brittle. Anyway, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you have been eating and reading lately. And if you've read any of the Valdemar books, do you have a favorite trilogy in that series? Because it is one of those series where, you do 3 books that are about one person and then another 3 books about somebody else, and they're all like wildly different from each other. Anyway, leave me a comment down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.